much for joining me here on the podcast.
Hey girl, it's so good to be here. Thank you so much. Like I've been looking forward to this all morning.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can hardly sit still, as you can see. Like I can't still. So in the introduction, I already kind of shared a little bit about you and how we met, but I would love for my listeners to know, who are you and what do you do?
What do you do? That question is always hard for me because it's like we do so many things. And I guess for work, I'm an English teacher, but what I love to do is writing and journaling. And so I started Ponder writing because I needed it, right? I feel like that's why we start most things. Is just I needed an outlet. I feel like my thoughts and feelings were just everywhere. I was overwhelmed by them, and I needed to focus in and channel them in a way that I could actually look at them and see, what I could do from there. So that's why I started this, is just because I needed journaling, and it's been amazing.
I love that. Okay, so what is Ponder writing? Like, let's get into it. What is it?
Yeah. So I call it a writing meditation because basically it's one word that you focus on, and I give you a quote and a definition and then my response. And I just ask you to take that word and focus on it for 3 to 5 minutes and just see what flows out, and just write sentences, bullet points, whatever just comes from your mind. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just whatever comes up in that moment. And it's amazing that it will unlock the thought flow. Just it's one word. So you can approach it. It's not intimidating to just focus in on a single word and let it take you where it takes you.
I love that so much. And my listeners here, y'all know how much I love a good journal. I talk about it in like every episode. They're so sick of hearing about it, but now there's someone else telling you, so pull out the dang journal. And I did this last week, and I was hoping to do it again today, but I'll do it this evening, do the same one. My word that she gave me was affirmation. Now, y'all know I love me a good affirmation. And so when I saw that, I'm not going to lie, I was like, this is the word, like, really, this is the word you're giving me of all of them. Like, but I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And y'all, I told Emily this afterwards. I had breakthroughs and I thought about it all week. All week I dug into it. So I am just so mind blown because I am all about journal prompts, answering questions, unlock the brain. So where did you get this whole one word versus a whole prompt? Like it just blows my mind.
Yeah. Some people are good at just starting to journal, just to journal about their day, journal about whatever. But for me, that never works because I always second guess myself. I say, well, today wasn't that important, or today was so crazy or busy that I don't know where to start. And then I look at my journal and every day feels the same, or I don't have inspiration. And so I needed some sort of focus, but not too much focus. Like, here's a prompt and you can only talk about this thing. It's just a word. So there's a connotation to the word maybe, but also not. The word is different to different people. So it can just be yours.
I just love that. And again, I'm still blown away by how much I dug into the word affirmation. I talk about affirmations all the time, and it blows my mind how deep you can dive with just one word. So, excuse me, let's step back for a second because I already got a little bit ahead of myself. So where did this start? What was the moment that you were like, okay, I need this in my life?
I mean, I've been journaling since I was young. I was a really shy kid, so journaling came naturally as a way to actually be able to express myself. When I couldn't speak to people, when I couldn't articulate words out loud, I just started writing. And so journaling has always been something that comes naturally to me, and I feel at home in my writing. But more recently, like Ponder itself came after a really hard day at work, when I felt like I was losing myself and just kind of falling into the 9 to 5 rut, and every day was the same. And I just didn't know what I was doing with I don't want to say with my life, other things were good in my life, but specifically work was difficult. So I just said, I need focus and I need to regain my thoughts and I need to write about something that feels authentic and to not force it. You know, I could look up a million writing prompts online, but it feels cheesy to me when you have to respond to like a certain question. And so a word is not necessarily a question, but it can be. But a word can be an invitation or an inspiration or nostalgia. And I loved that. I loved that it could be so many things. And I agree with you. It's just so surprising how much comes out of a single word. And when I meet with my girls on our live sessions, we're talking for an hour before we even know a minute passed by because all of us have these responses to the same word that are so different.
That is so beautiful. Like I really hope anyone who's wearing earbuds right now, you better be filled with like that spirit of passion because that was insane to witness. Like y'all can't see, but she literally lit up saying that. And that is so powerful. That's the power of journaling, which I could rant on forever, but I do that plenty. This is totally putting you on the spot. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but do you remember what your first word was that you chose?
Oh, that is such a good question. And I should know. I should totally know. I think it might have been perseverance.
Ooh, I love that.
Because that's what I needed at that moment. So all of my words are positive words in a way because I don't want to be fake about how I feel that day, but I want to focus on something that I want to feel or I want to be looking towards. And so whatever I'm not feeling, I write about the opposite if I need that, you know, or if I'm feeling inspired, I write about that. But the words are always somewhat positive, like peace or attention or stamina or delight. So I pick words that are good feelings to ponder. Because if you're going to sit in the word, you know, you want it to be motivating you and making you better.
I love that. I love all of this so much. And I'm going to go back and take like 5 million notes and do my own like ponder writing session on all of them because I'm just like ready to unlock all of this. So before I get on too much of a rant, there are so many people who believe that journaling has to be like this 2-hour long self-meditative session. So I love that it's 3 to 5 minutes. But what would you say to the person who's like, journaling's just not for me. Journaling's not going to help me. What would you say to them?
I would ask them, why? Actually, it's such a simple question, but if they've decided that, then there must be a reason that they've decided it. And maybe it's that they don't feel like a writer. That's really common. Like, I'm not a writer, so what I journal isn't good. What do you mean good? What is good? Writing is an art. So it's in the eye of the beholder. Like, there's no good and bad. It's just whatever flows out of you. So I would ask why, like, what's their experience with writing that makes them feel that way? Also, with Ponder, I never ask people to read what they wrote ever. That's just for you. You can read it if you want to share, but it's not about other people critiquing your writing. That's not what writing should be about, right? I mean, if you're in that place and you want them to, if that's what you're looking for, sure. But if it's just for you to express yourself or figure out how you feel or where you are, it can just be for you. It should be, at least at first. So I think that's where this is so unintimidating, is that it's just a word and it's just how you feel about it. My answer is not better than yours, better than the next person. Like, it's just your response that can be yours.
I love that. That is You put that in words that I struggle to come up, like all of that. So I can't even respond. I can't even find words apparently to like respond to that. The thing that kept me from journaling for a really long time is that I am a very naturally gifted writer. I am really, really good at writing. Like if you want me to tell you a story right now, off the top of my head, I could easily tell you a fiction story that takes you to a whole nother world. But journaling was hard for me. Like actually digging into my own brain was so difficult. And I didn't want to admit that something writing related was hard. And so, and I know that we talked about this briefly when we talked before. So I would just like to dig into this for a minute. Why is journaling hard? Why does journaling feel hard?
Yeah, I think so many reasons, but one of the top ones is that people have an expectation that they're going to be a perfect writer, that their journal is going to be a book that is worthy of publishing, which, first of all, it is. No matter what it is, it's
Yes,
worth
amen.
publishing. But we have these expectations of ourselves that are unrealistic, and we just expect to be a perfect writer or no writer at all. And as we know with anything, you're never perfect the first time, or the second or the third. Like, it's not attainable, and that's not even the point, because perfection is kind of boring, especially with writing. There's no soul in it. So, and I agree with you. Like, journaling it's not always easy for me either, especially because sometimes I'm worried people will read it. Oh, what if people read this? And then I change my voice, I change my style, as if people were going to read it. Yeah. And I say, that's so silly. Why? So what if they read it? It's my voice, and I didn't ask them to read it, so they should have seen it anyway. But yeah, it's just, I think we have these expectations of ourselves that are unrealistic, and we want writing to be a certain thing when it's just supposed to be a tool to keep your flow going and let you understand your emotions and your perspectives on the world.
I love that. And that is so good. And that ties in right in with this next thing I want to bring up, is that writing is so powerful. Like, there is something about pen to paper, and I give a little bit of leeway sometimes. I don't want anybody saying Karleigh said it was okay to do it all the time, but sometimes, as far as like, if you're really struggling, you can do like a voice note, or if you need to quickly type it in your phone. But there is so much power with pen to paper. Like, I use the phrase, and I thought it was really cheesy until I heard a lot of other people say it. And frankly, I released this like limiting feeling of it feeling cheesy when you said it, of unlocking the brain. Like, there is just something that happens when you put pen to paper and you just start going. Have you experienced that with ponder writing or any of your journaling?
Absolutely. Whenever I write it directly on a computer or laptop, I don't feel like it's coming from me. And I know some people can do that well. They can write, they can type it and feel like it's coming from their heart. I can't do that. Even these prompts, even ponder prompts, I usually write by hand and then type it up later, because that's how it's really coming from me. So I totally agree with you. There's something in our brains that just, it flows directly from our brain down to our hand, and we're able to feel it as it comes out.
Yes. And I think that's so good. I actually hadn't thought about that. I think that feeling is probably why so much comes up. Because I know for me, like when I get to journaling, like with the word affirmation, I had no idea that I was holding on to certain beliefs, certain things that were said to me. And I was like, I held these convictions so tightly, I didn't even know they were there. And once I was able to just write them out on paper and see it, I was able to go, wait a second, like, you're telling me this is why my brain has been struggling with this concept. And yeah. I think it's that feeling, because you're literally just, your brain, because there are times I don't even realize I'm thinking or feeling things, but I wrote it there. Like, it's there. It's like the subconscious uses that as like its tool to just speak to you. And it's so powerful.
Yeah. And how our brains usually think about like the same 5 things over and over again. Right. That we don't have new thoughts. And so what's interesting is any word, you're going to put those thoughts and perspectives onto that word. So say affirmation as your example, you think of the ways that you receive affirmations, the ways that you don't, the ways that you give them. And all of those perspectives tie into that word subconsciously, because we are who we are. And like it or not, that's what our brains do. We cycle. And so if you throw a different word or perspective in there, they still attach to that cycle, but it kind of unlocks a new window.
That's really good. Okay, so this is going to come off really cheesy, but the fact that you said the window thing, I'm just going to roll with it. So there are times when I journal and I'm like, if I'm really struggling, I honest to God take a moment and I am, this is so crazy. I'm saying this out loud, but I imagine it as if my mind is like a really dirty attic. It's got cobwebs, it's unorganized, it's full of boxes that I don't want to deal with. And I honest to God imagine little old lady Karleigh coming into the attic and cleaning it up and sweeping away the cobwebs and putting away boxes and sorting through things. And I didn't think about this at the time, but it ties in really well. When I was going through affirmation, it's like I could see it in my mind, and it was little old lady Karleigh going through things and going, oh, I want to keep this we're going to donate, as in we're going to take this and mold it, and then we're going to completely get rid of this one. It's like the keep, toss, donate that you do. And journaling for me is that keep, toss, donate. It's that decluttering of the mind. And I personally don't think it's possible to do that without getting it out on paper. Because if not, you're just having the tornado that's taking Dorothy to Oz, but you never land, you never get anywhere. When you can take those words and put them out on paper, they become physical and tangible. You can touch the paper, you can see the paper, and you can read it, versus the thought that's tied in with every other thought.
Right. Yes. And then also the process of going through it individually, but then with other people, because it's different, different things come up, or you add to whatever you wrote when you express what came up for you, but then you hear that of others and you say yes, or you say no, that wasn't my perspective. But either way, it embellishes the word and your perspective on it. And so what I love about it too is that it has the accountability that you will do it. The accountability is so important in everything, but journaling included. That it's not just you doing these prompts whenever you feel like it. It's you doing these prompts every week, and it's not just you. It's a community that says, hey, we're showing up and we're making sure we journal because that's important and it's valuable in our lives, and we're worth it. We're worth putting aside the time to give ourselves space to just let this flow out and not judge ourselves and not have expectations about what that will be.
I love that. And accountability and worth are two things that really, so for me and for all of my listeners, I'm still doing it. This is an excuse to make you not do it. But I've got the Worthy of Recovery printable journal that's specifically made for survivors. And that's my own journal. And I struggle to stay. It takes less than 15 minutes a day, but I still struggle to sit down and just do it. It actually hit me that I hadn't done it in a few days when someone who had bought it reached out and they were like, I'm feeling a little stuck here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't even reached that point in my own journal. Like, that accountability piece is so important. The accountability and community, not in like I'm going to beat you with a stick if you don't do it, but just in I'm not doing this alone. I'm doing it with other people. And that is something that is really lacking nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Because our attention spans are shrinking. And also it ties back to worth. If we care about something, if we do something, a lot of times it's not enough to make ourselves actually stick with it. Even if we want to do it, even if we see that it's valuable, we won't do it for ourselves. But having an accountability group shows us that we're worth it, but also it makes it more purposeful, that you're not just doing it for yourself. There is a deeper reason why you're showing up.
And that is, and I need you to take a second and step back and listen to that. She's talking about worth. She's talking about accountability. And what are like the milestones of everything I talk about? I can guarantee you there's someone listening right now rolling their eyes, because self-worth it's literally my branding. Like, it's everything. And when you decide that you are worth something, You want to have that accountability. Accountability is seen almost as a negative. It's like, I want an accountability buddy for the gym. And it's like, oh, I got to get up at 4 a.m. and go run on the treadmill for an hour and a half. And accountability doesn't need to be this negative. It's just like, I am worth the effort. And there's someone else that sees worth in me and they care about me enough to call me out to keep me on path.
Yes.
Like there's so much beauty in that.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All the yes.
And the fun fact here, right before, as we're wrapping up, but as we were talking, so me and Emily spoke last week as we were prepping for this interview, and y'all know Worthy is my monthly membership. That's going to be opening very soon, by the way. Worthy is my monthly membership, and I'm really big on worth. That is what Ponder Writing used to be called. That is what Emily was going to name her program. So it's like, if this was not a match made in heaven, I don't know what is.
Yes, actually, so you asked what my first word was. At least I know what the first folder was called that all of these prompts were in, right? And I think I shared that with you even before you said what yours was called. And it was just so funny that it's the root of so many things. For everyone, but especially women, we struggle with worth, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but here we go.
Yes, yes. And that is, and I think I'm calling myself out here too, but I think that's why we struggle to stay accountable to ourselves, because we feel that we are not worth the work. And I'm not going to lie. And now that like I'm saying this out loud, that's why I've struggled doing my own dang journal. It's called Worthy of Recovery. I created this and I'm struggling with it because it's like, I have other people to help. I have my son to take care of. I've got clients to reach out to. I've got followers. I've got videos, all this, everybody else. It's not worth the time for me to focus on me. Like what?
Yep.
What? These are so
everyone else. Yeah. Everyone else, everything else first.
And that's gotta change, especially for us survivors, y'all. Because if you want to do the right thing for the wrong reasons, find someone else to focus on yourself for. For me, 100%, it's my son. My son's the reason I'm here. If I did not have my son, I would not be here right now. Period. End of story. Right thing, wrong reason. There are times where I don't want to get out of bed and I get out of bed for him. But I am focusing on me, and my growth is happening because I know that I need to be the best me for my son. So who do you need to be the best you for? Do you need to be the best you for your followers? Is it for your family? Is it for your parent? Just like we want to set good eating habits for our kids. We want to show them what can't tell your kid to go eat a carrot while you're stuffing your face with Oreos, right? You've got to set the example. We got to do the same thing with those who are watching and looking up to us. If you can't do it for yourself, fine, do it for someone else. Just get started. And that is what I love with Ponder Writing, because it's one word. It's 5 minutes. Mine takes 15 minutes. Hers is 3 to 5 minutes. That's it. And by the way, the 5 minutes were up and I was still writing and I didn't realize that my timer had stopped. So it's like, once you get started, you want to keep going. And that's the power in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, this is one tool that is awesome to use, but I would encourage anyone to look for anything that will help them to keep accountability with journaling. Mm-hmm. This is one way, and I love my community, and I think we are growing so much together, but just start. The key is just starting, just doing it, just finding people to hold you accountable is the most important thing.
See, y'all, I'm not the only one saying it. She's saying it too. Pick up the journal. Get an 88-cent journal from Walmart. Grab a strip of paper. Do what you need to do. Pick one word. Just start. All right. So where can I learn more about you and Ponder Writing and get involved? Because it's got to happen, man.
Yeah. The best way would just be to go to ponderwriting.com. I share about us, the content, the process. You can even sign up for the prompts and the monthly accountability group on there. And I would be so happy to give your listeners $10 off the monthly membership, because I just want them to try it. I just want them to take that time for themselves. So I will share the coupon code with you, and please pass that along. They're also free to email me at ponderwritingmeditation@gmail.com.
I love it. And I'm so excited. And y'all, I didn't ask her to do that. That was all her. Is she not like one of the most wonderful humans ever. And this video is also going to be up on YouTube. So go check it out on YouTube, and you need to see just how adorable she is. Like, you need some Emily in your life. She is so awesome. Thank you so much, Emily, for hopping on and hanging out. Oh, what about social? Are you on social at all?
Yeah, it's on Instagram. I'm at Ponder Writing. It is a closed group though, so it's only for the members of the community.
Oh, okay. Perfect. So if y'all want in there, and you do, go get signed up. Go check out the show notes for all of the details. I'm going to make sure that's in there. Thank you so much for your time, Emily. I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful to have you on the show, and I cannot wait to do some more prompts because I need that in my life.
Karleigh, you made my morning. Thank you so much for having me on.